How does a single message in a group chat end with divorce papers on the courthouse steps? What happens when your own words become evidence, and the person you thought you could humiliate turns your performance into your undoing? Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. My name is Lysandra Vyne, and I thought I was untouchable. I thought my husband Jonah was too weak, too boring, too wrapped up in his math teacher routine to ever fight back. I was wrong about everything. The restaurant was perfect, dim lighting, expensive wine, the kind of place where important people made important decisions. Our 7th wedding anniversary deserved something special, even if Jonah sat across from me, looking like he'd rather be grading papers. "You're not even listening," I said, twirling my pasta around my fork. "I'm telling you about the Henderson Foundation event, and you're staring at your phone." Jonah looked up, his brown eyes tired behind wire-rimmed glasses. "I heard you. Big donor event, rooftop venue, very important." "It is important. This could be my promotion, Jonah. Events coordinator to development director. Do you understand what that means for us? For Maya's college fund?" He nodded, cutting his steak with methodical precision. Everything Jonah did was methodical. Breakfast at 7:15. Coffee with exactly 2 sugars. Lesson plans color-coded by subject. Sometimes I wondered if he scheduled our conversations. "Lysandra." The voice made me turn, and suddenly Felix Marrow was approaching our table, all confident smile and expensive cologne. My coworker looked incredible in his navy blazer, his dark hair perfectly styled. "Felix, what are you doing here?" I felt myself straighten, smoothing my black dress. "Client dinner just wrapped up. Saw you from across the room and had to say hello." His eyes lingered on me before acknowledging Jonah with a polite nod. "You must be the husband. Felix Marrow, development team." Jonah stood to shake hands, his movements stiff. "Jonah Vyne, nice to meet you." "Mind if I steal your wife for a quick work chat? Won't take long." Before Jonah could respond, I was standing. "Of course. Jonah, order me another wine." Felix guided me toward the bar, his hand resting lightly on my lower back. The touch sent electricity through me, something I hadn't felt with Jonah in years. "You look stunning tonight," Felix murmured, leaning close enough that I could smell his aftershave. "That dress is dangerous." I laughed, feeling alive in a way I'd forgotten was possible. "It's our anniversary." "Lucky man," his eyes met mine. "Though between us you seem a little underappreciated." The conversation flowed like wine, work gossip, shared jokes, the kind of easy banter that made me feel witty and desirable. When Felix's phone buzzed with a text, he showed me the screen without thinking. "Group chat with the office crew. Want to see something funny?" I peered at his phone, reading messages from our coworkers Marina, Nate, and a few others. They were sharing photos from various weekend adventures, making jokes about their dating lives. "Add me to that," I said impulsively. "Looks fun." Felix grinned and typed quickly. Within seconds, my phone buzzed with an invitation to join the Foundation crew. "There, now you're officially part of the cool kids table." When we returned to our table, Jonah was sitting exactly as we'd left him, hands folded, wine untouched. The contrast between him and Felix was stark, one vibrant and engaging, the other distant and resigned. "Sorry about that," I said, sliding back into my seat. "Work stuff." I heard. Jonah's voice was neutral, but I caught the tightness around his eyes. Felix lingered, clearly in no hurry to leave. "Actually, would you mind if I got a photo? For the Foundation newsletter. Power couples supporting the arts, that kind of thing." Before either of us could object, Felix was positioning himself beside our table, his phone out. "Lysandra, scoot closer. Jonah, maybe lean in a bit." The flash went off several times. In the final shot, Felix's hand rested casually on my shoulder, while Jonah sat stiffly beside me, his smile forced. "Perfect. I'll send these to you both. Have a wonderful evening. After Felix left, silence settled over our table like fog. Jonah finished his steak without comment while I scrolled through my phone, already seeing the photo pop up in the group chat. He seems nice, Jonah finally said. Felix? Yeah, he's great, really passionate about the work. I'm sure he is. Something in his tone made me look up. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, just making conversation. But I could see it in his face, that pinched, disapproving expression he got when he thought I was being inappropriate. It was the same look he gave his students when they talked back. On the drive home, inspiration struck. I pulled out my phone and opened the group chat, typing quickly. Great meeting you all tonight. Though I have to say, after seeing Felix's charm in action, my husband looked like a wrinkled prune in comparison. I added the photo Felix had taken, the one where the contrast between the two men was most obvious. Felix looked confident and handsome, while Jonah appeared tired and older than his 36 years. The responses came immediately. Marina, stop. Nate, Lysandra, you are wild. Felix, hey now, I'm sure he has his charms. Marina, girl, you need to teach a masterclass in confidence. I giggled, showing Jonah the screen. Look, the work group thinks you're cute. He glanced over briefly, his jaw tightening as he read. Wrinkled Prune? It's just a joke, Jonah. Don't be so sensitive. Right, a joke. But I was already lost in the flood of responses, the validation and attention I'd been craving. The group was eating it up, treating me like I was hilarious and bold, instead of just another suburban wife going through the motions. What I didn't know was that someone had already taken a screenshot. The next morning at the foundation office, I felt like a celebrity. Marina practically tackled me at the coffee machine. Oh my God, Lysandra, that group chat last night, I'm still dying. You're savage. It was just being honest, I said, but I was glowing from the attention. Nate appeared with his phone out, as usual. At 29, he documented everything for social media, turning every moment into content. Okay, we need to talk about last night. That photo, that caption, it's already spreading beyond our group. What do you mean? He showed me his Instagram story, where he'd reposted the photo with laughing emojis. I shared it because it was too good not to. Look at the comments. Dozens of responses from people I didn't even know. This woman is my hero. Finally, someone keeping it real about marriage. The confidence. I could never. Is this real or performance art? The attention was intoxicating. All morning, people stopped by my desk to comment on the photo, to tell me how funny I was, how refreshing my honesty was. Even my supervisor mentioned it during our team meeting. I have to say, Lysandra, your social media presence is exactly the kind of authentic voice we want representing the foundation. Bold, unfiltered, real. By lunch, the photo had been shared to TikTok, Twitter, and several Facebook groups. Someone had even made it into a meme with the caption, "When you realize you upgraded." I called my mother during my break, expecting her to share in my excitement. Lysandra, honey, Rosa's voice was careful. I saw the photo your friend tagged me in. Are you sure this is wise? What do you mean? Making fun of Jonah publicly like that. He's a good man, sweetheart. He works hard. He loves you and Maya. Mom, it's just a joke. Everyone's being so dramatic. But what does Maya think? She's old enough to see this stuff online. I hadn't thought about Maya seeing it. At 7, she was just starting to understand social media, though we tried to limit her exposure. She doesn't have accounts, Mom. She won't see it. Her friends' parents might, their older siblings. Honey, maybe you should think about taking it down. I'm not taking down anything. For once in my life, people are paying attention to me. I'm not going back to being invisible. That afternoon, Felix stopped by my desk with coffee and a grin. So, internet famous now, huh? It's crazy, right? I never expected it to blow up like this. You've got a gift for this stuff, natural charisma. He perched on the edge of my desk, close enough that I could smell his cologne again. Though I have to ask, how's the Wrinkled Prune handling his newfound fame? I laughed, but something twisted in my stomach. Jonah? He's fine. He doesn't really do social media anyway. Lucky him. Though between you and me, Felix lowered his voice, I think you deserve someone who appreciates what they have, someone who wouldn't let you feel invisible. The way he looked at me made my pulse quicken. Felix, just saying, you're incredible, Lysandra. Don't let anyone make you forget that. That evening, I came home to find Jonah in his study, papers spread across his desk in neat stacks. He looked up when I entered, his expression unreadable. How was work? He asked. Amazing, actually. Everyone's talking about the photo. I might even get interviewed for a lifestyle blog. Congratulations. His tone was so neutral, it was almost robotic. I moved closer, noticing he was organizing what looked like household documents, bank statements, utility bills, insurance papers. What's all this? Just getting organized. I realized we don't have a good system for tracking our expenses. Since when do you care about expense tracking? Since always. I just haven't been systematic about it. He closed a notebook labeled Household Budget and slid it into a drawer. Maya's asking about the photo, by the way. My stomach dropped. What? Her friend Sophie's older sister showed it to her at school. She wanted to know why everyone was laughing at Daddy. What did you tell her? That sometimes Mommy makes jokes that aren't very kind, but that it's okay because families forgive each other. The guilt hit me like a slap, but I pushed it away. It was just a joke, Jonah. Everyone understood that. Everyone except our 7-year-old daughter. Don't try to make me feel bad about this. For once, I'm getting recognition for being funny and confident instead of just blending into the background. Jonah studied me for a long moment. Is that what you think you've been doing? Blending into the background? Haven't I? When's the last time anyone paid attention to me? Really paid attention, not just polite conversation at parent-teacher conferences or foundation board meetings. I pay attention to you. No, you don't. You go through the motions. You ask about my day and nod at the right moments, but you're not really there. When's the last time you looked at me the way Felix did last night? Something flickered across Jonah's face. Felix. He sees me, Jonah. He thinks I'm interesting and funny and worth talking to. I see. Jonah turned back to his papers. Well, I'm glad you're feeling appreciated. That night, the group chat exploded with new developments. Someone had created a TikTok using the photo, set to music, that was approaching 10,000 views. The comments were getting more elaborate, with people sharing their own relationship stories and praising my authenticity. But mixed in with the praise were other voices. This is just cruel. Imagine being that man's daughter and seeing this. Some things should stay private. I screenshotted the negative comments and sent them to the group chat with the message. Looks like we've got some jealous people in the comments. The response was immediate support. Marina, ignore the haters. They're just mad they don't have your confidence. Nate, people can't handle real talk. Felix, you're threatening their comfortable little lies about marriage. But as I scrolled through the responses, I noticed something. The screenshots I was sharing, the comments I was mocking, someone in the group was saving everything. The little notification that appeared when someone took a screenshot kept popping up. Who keeps screenshotting? I typed. Radio silence. Then, finally, a message from a number I didn't recognize. Guess who saw the screenshots? My blood went cold. Who is this? But the message had already been deleted, and the number was gone from the group. 3 weeks later, the Henderson Foundation's annual donor gala was everything I'd dreamed of. Elegant, sophisticated, and crawling with influential people. The rooftop venue overlooked the city skyline, string lights creating a magical atmosphere against the darkening sky. I'd chosen my outfit carefully, a stunning red dress that hugged my curves, professional enough for work, but striking enough to turn heads. And it was working. All evening, People had been approaching me, some recognizing me from the viral photo. "You're the Wrinkled Prune woman," laughed Jonah's wife, champagne glass in hand. I shared that photo with everyone. So refreshing to see someone being honest about marriage. Felix appeared at my elbow, looking devastating in his black tuxedo. "There's our star. You're the talk of the party." "It's surreal," I admitted, accepting another glass of champagne from a passing waiter. 6 months ago, nobody knew my name. Now I can't walk 10 feet without someone wanting to chat. "You deserve this attention. You've always deserved it." Across the rooftop, I spotted Jonah near the silent auction tables. I'd been surprised when he'd agreed to come. These events weren't usually his scene. He looked uncomfortable in his rented tuxedo, studying the auction items with the same methodical attention he gave everything else. "Is that him?" Felix asked, following my gaze. "The famous prune?" "Don't call him that here," I said, but I was laughing. "Right, professional setting." "Got it." Felix's hand found the small of my back, a gesture that was becoming familiar. Though I have to say, the contrast is even more obvious in person. He wasn't wrong. Where Felix commanded attention effortlessly, Jonah seemed to fade into the background. Several people had already mistaken him for catering staff. "Ladies and gentlemen," the foundation director's voice rang out over the speakers, "we'd like to invite our events coordinator, Lysandra Vyne, to say a few words about tonight's success." My heart leaped. This wasn't planned. It was a spontaneous recognition of my work. I made my way to the small stage, very aware of all the eyes on me. "Thank you so much," I began, gripping the microphone. When I started at the Henderson Foundation, I never imagined I'd be standing here, looking out at all of you incredible people who make our work possible. The crowd was attentive, engaged. I could see phones coming out, people recording. This foundation is built on trust between donors and recipients, trust between colleagues, trust in the power of community to create change. And sometimes, that trust means being honest about who we are, even when it's uncomfortable. I caught Felix's eye and smiled. He raised his champagne glass in a small salute. "So here's to honesty, to authenticity, and to never settling for less than we deserve. Thank you for making tonight magical." The applause was enthusiastic. As I stepped down from the stage, Felix was there immediately, his arm sliding around my waist. "Brilliant speech," he murmured. "You're a natural." "Thank you, I can't believe I just did that." "Believe it, you're incredible." His hand lingered on my waist as Nate appeared with his ever-present phone. "Okay, I need content from tonight. Lysandra, you look amazing. Felix, get in there. This is going to be perfect for the Foundation's social media." Without thinking, I leaned into Felix as Nate started recording. The champagne had made me bold, the applause had made me confident, and Felix's attention had made me feel desirable, in a way I'd forgotten was possible. "So, this is Lysandra Vyne, the woman behind tonight's incredible event," Nate narrated for his phone. "And Felix Marrow from our development team. You two make quite the power couple. Professionally speaking, of course." Felix laughed, his arm tightening around me. "Lysandra's the real star here. I'm just lucky to work with someone so talented." The way he said it, the way he looked at me, it was everything I'd been craving. In that moment, I felt seen, appreciated, valued. "Get a shot of us with the city backdrop," I suggested, caught up in the moment. Nate obliged, snapping photos and short videos, while Felix and I posed against the rooftop railing. His hand never left my waist, and I didn't want it to. It wasn't until later, as the crowd began to thin, that I remembered to look for Jonah. I found him by the elevator, waiting. "Ready to go?" he asked quietly. "Already. The party's just getting started." "It's almost 11. We have a babysitter to pay." "Right, Maya." In the excitement of the evening, I'd almost forgotten we'd left our daughter with a sitter. "Of course. Let me just say goodbye to everyone." But as I turned back toward the party, Jonah caught my arm gently. "Lysandra." What? Do you know what you're doing? The question caught me off guard. What do you mean? With Felix, with the photos, the videos, do you know what you're doing? I pulled my arm free. I'm networking, Jonah. I'm building my career. I'm finally getting the recognition I deserve. At what cost? What cost? There's no cost. This is all positive. Jonah studied my face in the dim light. If you say so. The ride home was quiet, but I was buzzing with excitement. My phone was already lighting up with notifications. The photos and videos from tonight were being shared, commented on, celebrated. In the group chat, the response was immediate. Marina, you looked stunning tonight. Power couple vibes with Felix. Nate, the video is already at 500 views and climbing. Felix, had an amazing time tonight. You're incredible, Lysandra. I screenshotted the messages and was about to share them when I noticed something. Across the street from our apartment building, a figure stood under a streetlight. As we pulled into our parking space, the figure moved, and I caught a glimpse of a familiar silhouette. Jonah, look across the street. Is that... But when I looked again, the figure was gone. What? Jonah asked, following my gaze. Nothing. I thought I saw someone. Inside our apartment, Maya was asleep on the couch, and the babysitter reported a quiet evening. After paying her and checking on our daughter, I found Jonah in his study again, the same papers spread across his desk. Still organizing? I asked. Still organizing, he confirmed, not looking up. I wanted to tell him about the speech, about the recognition, about how alive I'd felt tonight, but something in his posture warned me off. Instead, I went to bed, my phone still buzzing with notifications. The last message I saw before falling asleep was from an unknown number. Nice performance tonight. When I woke up the next morning, the message was gone. The video from the gala had taken on a life of its own. By Monday morning, it had been shared across multiple platforms, spawning reaction videos and think pieces about authentic confidence in the age of social media. I was riding high on the attention until my mother called during lunch. Lysandra, we need to talk. Mum, if this is about the video, your father saw it. He's very upset. That stopped me cold. Paul Dre was the most mild-mannered man I knew. Getting him upset required serious effort. What did he say? He said that man, Jonah, doesn't deserve to be humiliated like this. He said if he were in Jonah's position, he'd be talking to a lawyer. A lawyer? Mom, that's ridiculous. It's just social media. Is it? Because your father called Jonah yesterday. My stomach dropped. He what? They talked for over an hour. Jonah's hurting, sweetheart. Really hurting. And now Maya's asking questions at school because other kids have seen the videos. Maya's fine. She doesn't understand. She understands enough. She drew a picture in art class. Her family. Want to guess how she drew her father? I didn't want to guess. Tiny, Lysandra. She drew him tiny and fading, like he's disappearing. Her teacher called us because she was concerned. The guilt hit me in waves, but I fought it back. Everyone's overreacting. This is just people being jealous of my success. What success? You mean the attention you're getting for mocking your husband? I mean the recognition I'm getting for being confident and authentic. The foundation is thrilled with my social media presence. I might get promoted because of this. My mother sighed. Sometimes being right isn't worth being alone, honey. That afternoon, I found myself paying closer attention to Jonah's behavior. He'd always been methodical, but lately he seemed almost systematic. Every evening, he spent time in his study with those papers. Every morning, he checked his phone immediately upon waking. Every conversation felt carefully measured. When I tried to peek at his desk while he was in the shower, I found the drawers locked. "Since when do you lock your desk?" I asked when he emerged. "Since I started keeping important documents there. Identity theft is a real concern these days." What kind of important documents? Insurance policies, bank statements, tax records, adult stuff. The dismissive tone stung. I'm an adult, Jonah. Of course you are. I didn't mean it that way. But something in his eyes suggested he meant exactly that. The group chat had evolved too. What started as workplace friends sharing jokes had become something more intense. The attention from my viral moments had attracted new members. Friends of friends, social media followers, people who wanted to be part of the phenomenon. Felix had become increasingly attentive, stopping by my desk daily, including me in client meetings, suggesting we grab lunch to discuss strategy. The line between professional collaboration and personal attention was blurring, and I didn't want to clarify it. You know, he said over lunch at an upscale bistro, I've been thinking about what you said in your speech, about not settling for less than we deserve. What about it? I think you're at a crossroads. You can go back to being invisible, or you can embrace this new version of yourself, the confident, authentic, powerful woman everyone's responding to. It's not that simple. I have responsibilities. Maya, the marriage. Do you, though? I mean, really? Felix leaned forward. From what I've seen, your marriage is more like a business arrangement, roommates splitting bills and childcare duties. The observation hit uncomfortably close to home. That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time he made you feel the way you felt at the gala? When's the last time he looked at you like you were the most fascinating person in the room? I couldn't answer because I couldn't remember. I'm just saying, life's short. You deserve to feel alive. That evening, I found a calendar notification on my phone. Paper drop 16:05. I didn't remember creating it, and when I tried to edit it, the event was locked. Jonah, did you put something in my calendar? He looked up from his laptop, where he was working on lesson plans. No, why? There's this weird appointment I don't remember making. Maybe it's a work thing. You've been busy lately. But something in his tone made me suspicious. I tried to see his laptop screen, but he closed it smoothly. Grading can wait, he said. Want to watch something together? It was the first time he'd suggested spending time together in weeks. We settled on the couch, Maya between us, watching a Disney movie she'd seen dozens of times. For a moment, it felt almost normal. Then my phone buzzed with a group chat message from Felix. Missing you already? I quickly turned the phone face down, but not before Jonah's eyes flicked to the screen. Work stuff, he asked mildly. Just the team saying goodnight. Nice team. That night, I woke up around 2 a.m. to strange sounds from Jonah's study. I crept to the door and heard the printer running, followed by the distinctive sound of our paper shredder. In the morning, I found the shredder bin empty and a new USB drive sitting on Jonah's desk, labeled Archive AB. What were you doing last night? I asked over breakfast. Couldn't sleep, did some organizing. What kind of organizing requires a shredder at 2 a.m.? Old tax documents. We're supposed to keep records for 7 years, then destroy them for security. It sounded reasonable, but something felt off. Jonah had never cared about document security before. My phone buzzed with another calendar notification. Meeting personal location TBD. I definitely hadn't created that one. The family dinner was supposed to be a peace offering. Rosa had suggested it after another tense phone call about my social media situation, and even Paul had agreed to come, a rare occurrence that signaled serious concern. We met at a riverside restaurant, the kind of place that specialized in quiet conversation and family reconciliation. Maya was excited to see her grandparents, chattering about school, while the adults navigated carefully around the elephant in the room. So, Rosa said after we'd ordered, how are things at work, sweetheart? Amazing, actually. The foundation is thrilled with my social media presence. I'm getting invited to speak at other events, and there's talk of a promotion. That's wonderful, Paul said quietly. And how are things at home? The question hung in the air like smoke. Maya was coloring on her kid's menu, oblivious to the tension. "Things are fine, Dad. Everyone's making a bigger deal of this than it needs to be." "Are they?" Rosa pulled out her phone. "Because I've been seeing some concerning things online." She showed me a compilation video someone had made, set to dramatic music, chronicling my journey from the anniversary dinner photo to the gala video. The creator had added commentary questioning my marriage, speculating about my relationship with Felix, and analyzing Jonah's expressions in various photos. "Mum, I can't control what other people post. But you can control what you post. And lately..." She gestured helplessly. Jonah had been silent through this exchange, cutting his salmon with surgical precision. Maya looked up from her coloring. "Daddy, why do people say mean things about you on the computer?" The table went dead quiet. Jonah's fork paused halfway to his mouth. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" Rosa asked gently. "Sophie's sister showed me videos where people laugh at Daddy. They say he looks sad and old, but I think Daddy's handsome." My heart shattered and reformed in the space of a breath. Jonah reached over and touched Maya's hand. "Thank you, baby. That means everything to me." "But why do they say those things?" Jonah glanced at me, then back at Maya. "Sometimes adults make mistakes when they're trying to be funny. The important thing is that we love each other, no matter what anyone else says." Paul cleared his throat. "Maya, why don't you go wash your hands before dessert comes?" After she left, he turned to me with an expression I'd never seen before. Disappointment so deep it was almost physical. "Lysandra, I've known Jonah for 7 years. He's a good man. He works hard. He loves his family. He's never said an unkind word about anyone. He doesn't deserve this." "Dad, let me finish. Your mother and I raised you to be better than this. To be kind, to be loyal, to understand that marriage isn't a performance for strangers on the internet." "It's not a performance. I'm just being authentic." "Authentic?" Paul's voice rose slightly. "Authentic is how Jonah talks about you to me. With respect, with love, even when you're making his life hell. Authentic is how he asks for advice on making you happy, not on how to humiliate you back." The words hit like physical blows. "He talks to you about our marriage?" "He calls me sometimes, asks if I think he's boring, if I think he's failing as a husband. Do you know what I tell him?" I couldn't speak. I tell him that marriage is work, and that some people forget that. I tell him that the woman I raised is still in there somewhere, under all this need for attention. Rosa reached across the table and took my hand. "Sweetheart, we love you, but this has to stop. You're hurting people who don't deserve it, and you're teaching Maya that it's okay to treat people cruelly as long as it makes you feel good." When Maya returned, the conversation shifted to safer topics, but the damage was done. The ride home was silent except for Maya's chatter about dessert and her grandparents. At home, after Maya was in bed, I found Jonah in his study with a folder full of labeled envelopes spread across his desk. Each one was marked with a date and location: anniversary dinner, gala video, group chat screenshots, family dinner. "What is all this?" I asked. Jonah looked up, and for the first time in weeks, his expression was completely clear. "Documentation." "Of what?" "Everything. Photos, videos, messages, dates, witnesses, a complete record." "A record of what, Jonah?" "Of how we got here, of what happened to us." He gestured to the envelopes. "I've been trying to understand when you stopped being the woman I married and became this." "This? What's that supposed to mean?" "Someone who finds joy in humiliating me. Someone who flirts with other men and posts about it online. Someone who doesn't care that our daughter is being teased at school because her mother thinks her father is a joke." The words were delivered without heat, which somehow made them worse. "I never meant for Maya to get hurt." "But she did get hurt. And when your parents told you she was hurting, you called them jealous. When I told you I was hurting, you said I was being sensitive." Jonah closed the folder. "So I stopped telling you and started documenting instead." Documenting for what? For when this ends, Lysandra, because it is going to end. You did this the night you stopped being embarrassed by your own behavior. My phone buzzed with a calendar alert. Paper drop 16:05, courthouse steps. This time I knew I hadn't created it. The courthouse steps were busier than I'd expected for a Tuesday afternoon. I'd come here to meet Felix, who'd suggested we take new photos for the Foundation's website, something professional and polished to show our collaboration. I'd spent extra time getting ready, choosing a sharp blazer and heels that made me feel powerful. After the difficult family dinner, I needed to reclaim my narrative, to show everyone that I was thriving. Felix was late, which wasn't like him. I checked my phone, scrolling through the group chat, where Nate had posted a teaser about big news coming soon, with a photo of legal documents he'd blurred out for dramatic effect. Always the showman, I muttered, taking a selfie on the courthouse steps. The lighting was perfect, the architecture impressive behind me. I posted it with the caption, "Important meetings require impressive venues." The responses came quickly. Marina, "Boss energy." Nate, "Wait till you see what I'm posting later." Felix, "Sorry, running late. Be there in 20. I was editing the photo when I heard footsteps behind me. Turning, I expected to see Felix, but instead found Jonah approaching with a manila folder under his arm. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "Same thing you are, I imagine. Taking care of business." He looked different, not the tired, resigned man I'd been living with, but someone with purpose. His clothes were crisp, his posture straight, his expression calm. "What kind of business?" "The kind that's been a long time coming." He sat down beside me on the steps, setting the folder between us. "I've been thinking about what you said at the gala, about trust, about authenticity, about not settling for less than we deserve." "Jonah, you were right, we shouldn't settle. I shouldn't settle for being married to someone who thinks I'm a joke. You shouldn't settle for being married to someone you find embarrassing." My phone buzzed with another message from Felix. "Actually, can we reschedule? Something came up." "I don't think you're embarrassing," I said, though the words felt hollow. "Don't you?" Jonah opened the folder and pulled out a printed screenshot. It was from the group chat, the original Wrinkled Prune message. This was the first one. He laid out more screenshots, messages, photos, videos, all documenting my public mockery of our marriage. Seeing them all together, laid out like evidence, made my stomach turn. "Someone's been sending these to me," Jonah continued. "Every post, every comment, every video. Someone who thought I should know what my wife really thinks of me." "Who?" "Does it matter? The point is, you did this. You wrote these words, posed for these photos, made these videos. You chose to make our marriage a public joke." A man in a suit approached us, carrying an official-looking briefcase. "Mr. Vyne?" "That's me. The papers you requested are ready for service." My blood went cold. "What papers?" The man handed Jonah a thick envelope, then turned to me. "Lysandra Vyne?" "Yes?" "You're being served with divorce papers. You have 30 days to respond." The envelope felt impossibly heavy in my hands. Around us, other people were going about their business, but I felt like the world had stopped. "Jonah, what is this?" "It's me not settling for less than I deserve." He stood, gathering his folder. "The petition includes a request for primary custody of Maya, based on your recent behavior and its impact on her well-being. I have statements from her teacher, her counselor, and several witnesses to her distress. You can't take Maya from me. I'm not taking her from you. I'm protecting her from this." He gestured to my phone, which was still buzzing with notifications. "From being the child whose mother makes fun of her father for internet points." "This is insane. We can work this out. I'll delete the posts. I'll stop with the group chat." "It's too late for that, Lysandra. You made your choice when you decided our marriage was content for your social media career." He started walking away, then turned back. "Oh, and Lysandra, the person who's been sending me the screenshots, it was Marina. She's been documenting everything from the beginning. She thought it was getting out of hand and that I deserved to know. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. Marina, my biggest supporter, my cheerleader in all of this. Why would she do that? Because she's your friend. Real friends don't let you destroy your life for applause from strangers. As Jonah disappeared into the courthouse, I sat alone on the steps, divorce papers in my lap, my phone still buzzing with notifications from people who thought my life was entertainment. I opened the group chat to type a message, then stopped. What was I going to say? That my performance had cost me everything? That the confidence they'd been celebrating was just cruelty dressed up in pretty words? Instead, I scrolled back through months of messages, seeing clearly for the first time how I'd gotten here. Every cruel joke, every public humiliation, every moment I'd chosen strangers' validation over my family's dignity. My phone rang. It was Felix. "Hey, sorry about today. Rain check on those photos." "Felix," I said quietly, "I'm getting divorced." Silence on the other end. "Felix, wow, that's heavy. Listen, maybe we should keep things professional for a while. Until things settle down." The line went dead. I sat there as the afternoon faded into evening, watching people come and go from the courthouse. Lawyers with their briefcases, families resolving disputes, couples getting married. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from an unknown number. Some performances have consequences, but this time, the message didn't disappear. I looked at the divorce papers again, really reading them for the first time. Jonah had been thorough. Financial records, custody arrangements, division of assets, everything documented, everything legal, everything final. At the bottom of the last page, I found a note in Jonah's careful handwriting. "I hope you find what you're looking for. I hope it was worth it." The courthouse steps were empty now except for me, holding the legal proof that my need for attention had cost me everything that actually mattered. I thought about Maya, drawing her father as tiny and disappearing. I thought about my parents' disappointment. I thought about Jonah, quietly documenting my cruelty while I performed for strangers. And I thought about the woman I used to be, before I decided that being seen was more important than being kind. But it was too late for regrets. The papers were served, the evidence was documented, and the performance was over. The Wrinkled Prune had won.